A very good morning to all of you. Today is 17th November 2022 and this is our Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper. So let's see what all the important facts we have to cover from prelims point of view and what all sort of analysis we have to cover from the mains point of view. Okay. So on the very first page, there was a mention of this carbon border tax. So in the recent COP27, which was held in Egypt, India and the other countries has basically opposed this carbon border tax. So what is carbon border tax? So in this paragraph it has been mentioned that this was proposed by European Union, in which basically there was a tax on certain products like cement, steel, and as per them these are more carbon intensive. Okay, so and you all know that cement and steel are the backbone of any infrastructure development. So these developed countries, they are mostly basically opposing by putting a carbon tax on these kind of items, and this was opposed by basic group. So here basic is Brazil, India, South Africa and China. So these are basically countries which are presently dependent on coal. Okay, and they are basically opposing this carbon border tax, and we will link this particular news with the upcoming editorial further in this session, and you will properly understand what is happening actually, why there is a different point of view from both from the developed and the developing countries, right? And what is the strategy behind all these kind of taxes and affiliations. Clear? I will tell you the whole story. You will you will be amazed to know that what is the actual conspiracy being played by this developed countries here. Okay, so moving on to next page. Yeah, so on the next page you will see that the news on aids of MLAs held for trying to sell MCD poll ticket. See, these kind of case studies or example you can use in your mains answer writing. So we all know that political neutrality, or let's say there should be a transparency even in the allocation of let's say the tickets for any elections. Okay, but this is not happening. Whenever these kind of illegal activities or let's say corruption is there in any process of during of any process of elections, then definitely there is some major culprits behind this all these things. Okay, so you can quote these kind of case studies in your answers whenever there is a question of how the politics in India is getting disrupted, right? By corruption, by let's say defection is also based on the money thing only, right? One party is giving crores of rupees to the party, let's say the political person of the another party to come to leave that particular party and join our own party. So defection is being played on this particular thing only. Pay them, bring them, right? So these kind of case study you should mention in your answer whenever the question is asking about the major issues presently in our political system. Clear? Be it defection, be it corruption, be it the lack of political neutrality. Okay, amongst the administrators, the bureaucrats, and even the politicians. So there was a very good example for this in where Mahatma Gandhi has told the seven sins, of which there was a one sin, which is basically politics without morality is a sin, right? So these kind of things are actually happening in our country right now, and you must have heard it in various newspaper in various news that this person was has left his own party and joined the other party. A very good example is Mr. Sindhia, who have left Congress, who was one of the most important leader of the Congress National Party, but he left it and he joined BJP last year, right? So these kind of things you should know about it. You should be aware of these kind of and news, and you should try to bring these things in your answers. Clear? No need to go through the entire news. Just write this in your case study copy, or let's say example. Make it GS2 political situation, case study number 1, like this. You can quote it down. Okay. Then moving on to the next page. Again, there was this news on recruitment scam, which was actually took place in West Bengal. Okay, so in the entrance, I think the teacher entrance examination, teaching eligibility test, there was a issue of that there was some kind of cheating was occurring, you know. So there was this scam which was being done in this kind of recruitment test. So again, this you can put these kind of case studies in where ethics paper. Whenever there is questions on, let's say, see, whenever there is a recruitment scam, definitely there must be some bureaucrats or officer who were involved, because if they are not involved, this kind of situation might not happen. But definitely such scam are happening. Some officers, political party must be responsible for this. Okay, so you can quote this type of case study in your transparency, accountability thing. Who should be accountable for such scams? Whether the recruitment process should be transparent or not, right? So you can quote these kind of examples in your answers. All right. So you must have heard of the Vyapam scandal in Madhya Pradesh, right? So this has led to a very showing a very bad or poor image of the recruitment thing. And whenever there is a some illegalities in the recruitment process, then there is no healthy competition, right? And this is affecting the future also. What all sort of person have get into the, let's say, the recruitment process, who are not actually qualified, but they have allocated a job. And see, if any unqualified person get through this process and get a hold of some important position, see what all bad thing he can do, because he is not eligible. He might not be able to actually learn what all good practices they should be there, how should I work, because he was not qualified. He get into this by, let's say, any scam medium. So this will, let's say, affect the future of the nation, right? And it is happening. You must have heard that top bureaucrats, top politicians are getting involved in rape cases, in money laundering cases, in these kind of criminal activities. Okay, so you can note these kind of case studies in a separate copy. Clear? Moving on. So there was nothing much important in this page. Yeah, again, this states page, there was this mention of Kerala to ask governor to convene assembly. So again, relate this to your current to static linkage. Who convenes, who starts the assembly, right? So in the at the center level, let's say the president of India. At the state level, it is governor. So current to static linkage, who when the political party, the chief minister asks the governor that he should start the assembly. So the assembly gets started. At the center level, the same things, whether the session of parliament, who start the session of parliaments, who notifies it. So similar thing is happening at the state level also. Okay, and the issue here is also altogether different thing. So we have already covered in the previous sessions that the Kerala governor has passed an ordinance. So when the governor can pass an ordinance, it is similar to when the president can pass an ordinance. So go to the Lakshmikant, pick it up, read about ordinance, when it can be passed, in which situations, right? When the assembly is not in session, when it has been suspended, etc. Right? So read it and read who can notify the start of the session. What is the process? You should read it from the Lakshmikant. Okay. So this is your current to static linkage. Try to read every news from this point of view only. What static is connected to this current affair news? So you will get a clear picture of the entire syllabus of UPSC. Okay. Moving on. So there was this mention of Polavaram project, right? So again, from the geography point of view, for your prelims point of view, you should know about Polavaram project, on which river it is situated. So it is on Godavari river. You should Google search that what all important places or important cities are situated on the banks of Godavari river. Again, move a step ahead and read or revise all the tributaries of Godavari river. Clear? So this is related to again your static part, the drainage system of India, the southern rivers, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. So try to revise these rivers. What is its origin? Where does it get? Where does it fall? What are its tributaries? What all the important dams are there on these rivers? What all the important cities situated on these banks? Okay. So in this way you have to cover this thing. I'm only telling you the way, the approach, how you should cover a particular topic, which has been, which has come in the newspaper. Okay. Again, there was this mention of Sri Vishwanath Swami temple. So Google search it, see in which period it was constructed. It is related to which god. Okay. What is the style of the temple? Is it a Nagara style or is it a Dravida style temple? Okay. So it is related to your art and culture. Again, static linkage. CS linkage is very important, current to static linkage, and you should try to learn. You should try to know the trick how you should connect it. What all the news, be it in the newspaper, be it in any magazine, how you have to connect these kind of things with your static part. You can only do this when you have learned the syllabus of UPSC, both prelims and mains. We all know that reading the prelims syllabus is very easy. There are total 10 pointers, but the mains thing, GS paper 1, GS paper 2, GS paper 3, you should know each and every topic, whatever written in the syllabus, or stick it in front of you so that whenever news you can quickly glance. So it is related to this part, right? Then on this very good article, so India has shown how to democratize technology for the good of humanity. So these kind of actual statements are coming in your essay paper also. Use of technology, or let's say democratization of technology for the good of humanity. Clear? So a very good example is basically Ayushman Bharat scheme, let's say, right? So it is providing a safety net for 200 million families. This program is based on tech platform, right? You must have seen about this COVID app, in which you can book an e-appointment for your COVID vaccination. So this is basically use of technology for the for helping the people. This is basically democratizing technology. Everyone can get the help of these technology for their welfare. A very good example is this online edtech platforms. Previously, you have to go to some certain coaching, certain places to study about the competitive exam. But now on your cell phone, you can read, you can learn all these things. So this is democratization of technology, right? Previously, you have to go to a cinema hall, but now you can see all those things on your, let's say, mobile phones, or on your TV, on your Netflix. This is called basically democratization of technology. Is every person should be able to use a certain thing for its own welfare. Okay. You can easily online shop online by the clicks on your mobile. Previously, you have to go to a certain shop and buy some item, but now you can get anything from your mobile phone, right? So just note this type of examples. What is democratization of technology? Clear? Moving on this page, editorial page, there was nothing very important. Again, the thing on G20, it will come on, will actually come for the entire week, maybe next week also. Okay, so just focus on the main aspects. No need to go through the entire article, you know. So you can leave this thing. What you can do is you can read about these kind of organization. Let's say SCO, right? What is SCO, where it is what is its headquarter, who all are its members, whether India is member or not. So from prelims point of view, you can prepare this thing. Again, there was nothing in this thing. Yeah, so there was this mention of free trade negotiation. So here there is a mention that to achieve the export target of 2 trillion by 2030, India is going to whole hog on free trade agreement. So recently India is in talk with UK, right, for a, let's say, free trade agreement, and this article is based on whether there should be a transparency on this thing or not. So you should know this data. No need to go through the entire article. Just note this data, that, and you can use this data in what, let's say in GS paper 3 there is a question on, let's say, how can Indian economy can become a 3 trillion economy by, let's say, 2030. So you can quote this thing that we have to increase our data, increase our export target by 2 trillion, right? And FTA is a good medium. You can use this in way forward also. Clear? Now there is this mention of electoral bond. So you have to read this thing by both from prelims and mains point of view. From prelims point of view, prepare what is electoral bond, what are its various provisions, in which denomination you can obtain an electoral bond. This was from prelims point of view. Now from mains point of view, that there is very good data here, that's unknown sources of income spied after electoral bond entry. So this was an initiative to reduce these kind of things, the illegal funding from unknown sources. But when as soon as it is started, the unknown source of income has spiked. So the entire purpose has been defeated. So national parties unknown income rose from 66 to 71% in 3 years before and after the scheme introduction, right? So go through this article and note this thing down. Whenever there is a question on political funding of election or this kind, you can use these data. You can use this as a example, right? So here there is a mention of an amendment of to the RPA Act by the Finance Act 2017, which created a provision to exempt parties from declaring funds collected using electoral bond. So definitely it was all being planned so that certain things can be hidden, who all are providing the funds to the parties. Okay, so you can read this thing, you can read the entire article, note it down, the most important thing. Clear? Next, there was this mention of NASA's Artemis lunar exploration. So from prelims point of view, it is very important that Artemis mission is related to lunar moon exploration. Okay, so just read it. No need to go in depth about what is Artemis mission and all this thing. You can relate it with what? India's moon mission. If there is any mission related to moon in India, okay, you can read it. Chandrayaan and all this thing. So in this because in prelims they might ask question related to let's say which of the following pairs are correctly matched: Artemis, Jupiter, right? Chandrayaan, Mars, these kind of thing, and they might ask which of the following are correctly matched. So you should know that Artemis is related to moon. No need to go in depth. And you have to read this entire article. Very, very important. Who should pay for climate change? So at the starting, I've told that about the carbon border tax. So it was all related to this thing. So you should go and read what is the present scenario here. Okay, what is compensation? Why is compensation critical? What are India's emissions? So basically, let me give you a brief story. So the thing was that US got independence in, let's say, 1700. Okay, a country who became independent in 1700 and a country who became independent in 1947. A 200-year gap has given a country a favorable time, of a huge time to become developed. He has burned excessive amount of coal for its industrialization, for its urbanization, and now it has become a superpower. Now, a country who has become independent in 1947, as soon as it has started its development process, the issue of climate change has started to pondering up. that the global climate is changing. The greenhouse gases emissions has led to increase in let's say the Earth's overall temperature. So the developed nation who has a advantage of 200 years, he started saying that you should curb your emissions. So in this thing you will read the same idea, that a farmer in rural Africa can claim that his country has not emitted emission directly, but US and Russia, these are industrialized nations, they have advantage of time, advantage of money, they have bring their entire development thing. Now they are forcing other countries, the developing nation, that they should stop burning coal. So what are the other alternate sources they have left with? Nothing. So this has created a, let's say, inequality. All right. So you should read this article in detail. Very good thing. So अगर मैं आपको बोलूं कि ऐसा कंट्री जो अब डेवलप हो चुका है, अब वो क्या कर रहा है, दूसरे देश डेवलप ना हो पाए तो उसको क्लाइमेट चेंज के नाम पे ब्लैकमेल करो, या देखो तुम लोग एमिशन कर रहे हो, इस वजह से ग्लोबल क्लाइमेट चेंज हो रहा है, तुम लोग इतना कोयला मत जलाओ। अब उन्होंने तो क्या किया, कोयला जला के अपनी डेवलपमेंट कर ली। They have burned the entire coal what they have, and they have developed. They have used all the bricks and cement for their development of their cities. Right now, they are moving towards alternate sources because they have the enough resources for this thing. But a country like India, who is just 50 years or 70 years into their independence, they have started developing. They have started burning coal as per their requirement. But now these countries are forcing that you should not do this. You should have to phase down coal. सो एक दूसरी वे इंडिया कैसे डेवलप करेगी, उनके पास रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी का ऐसे सोर्स तो है नहीं। आप उसमें इन्वेस्ट करो, या तो कि रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के लिए इन्वेस्ट करो हमारे उसमें, सो दैट हम पे वो एनर्जी की रिक्वायरमेंट हमारी फुलफिल हो, बट ये भी नहीं करना है। सो ये पूरी कंट्रोवर्सी चल रही है क्लाइमेट चेंज के नाम पे। यूज क्लाइमेट चेंज टू फोर्स द डेवलपिंग नेशन टू स्टॉप देयर एमिशंस सो दैट दे कैन नॉट डेवलप। राइट, सो इसको अच्छे से पढ़ना, ट्राई टू रीड दिस and make quick pointers. Again, there was a news of inflation target. So we have already covered what all is the target. So here 2 to 6% target fixed by RBI, and Monetary Policy Committee has the thing to keep the inflation rate between this thing. Okay. So you can read this article, that what has caused the recent drop in inflation, why the inflation rate in November was so less, right, as compared to October. So you can note some pointers. Clear? So this will help in your static thing, inflation targeting, how you can keep the inflation rate at an optimum level. So these kind of things the UPSC can ask in exam, right? Then there was this news on Suez Canal, which is an artificial sea level waterway in Egypt connecting the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. They have already given the explanation. So let's see where is Suez Canal actually. So this is Suez Canal. You can see here. This is Suez Canal. It is connecting this Mediterranean Sea with the Red Sea. So if we can go more into this, zoom it. So this is the Mediterranean Sea. This is the Suez Canal. This is Gulf of Suez, and below this is the Red Sea. Red Sea is getting further divided into Gulf of Suez and Gulf of Aqaba. Clear? So you can take a screenshot of this, right? Now there is this mention of Pangong Tso Lake. So India and China relations and Pangong Tso Lake is all interconnected. So let's see where is Pangong Tso Lake. So if you can see here, this is Pangong Lake. Some part is in India, some part is in China. As China consider that it is in their territory, right? So if you can zoom it, see this portion is in India and this portion is in area claimed by China, but we claim it is ours. Okay, so it is a saltwater lake at an high altitude, and nearby is Somoriri Lake also. So go through the Google, search Pangong Tso Lake, Somoriri Lake, and write UPSC in front of it. You will get all the information required. Clear? Now on this page, there was this mention of, yeah, Kuwait. Kuwait puts to death 7 in rare execution. So you have to prepare Kuwait as from places in news part, right? So you should know where is Kuwait. So on the world map, you can see here, there is Kuwait in the red dot. So in the Arabian Peninsula, there is Kuwait on the corner. So if you zoom it, you can see like this. This is Kuwait. It is bordering Iraq, Saudi Arabia, all right, and Persian Gulf. And you should try to remember some of their main cities, right? Let's say Al Jara, Al Abrak. Clear? You should know these names. Okay, you can take a screenshot here. So this was all for today's newspaper. I think we have covered many aspects, both from geography point of view, both from places and news point of view, right? From economy point of view, from political point of view, from ethical point of view. So what your work is to incorporate all these things, segregate what all we have learned from the prelims point of view, what all important facts, and what all things we have learned from to be used in mains thing in your answer writing, whatever case studies, whatever your datas, right? So this is it for today. I'll see you in the next session. Have a great day.